I'll sing songs for you. Songs you never heard before. Let's remember Pearl Harbor as we go to meet the foe. You want to hear another one? Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, and we'll all stay free. You hear that? That's the song you're all going to be singing. You're all going to sing that in about a week.
There is nothing wrong with your podcatcher. Do not attempt to pause it. Welcome to a private recording about 3 separate anthology series, each a masterpiece in its own way. This is the dimension of gushing. It is an area we call the Sci-Fright Zone.
Welcome to the Sci-Fright Zone, where 2 fans of anthology series go through the Outer Limits, Night Gallery, and the Twilight Zone. I'm Diana.
And I'm Alisha.
We're finally at the Twilight Zone, the one show people actually care about. But there's a twist. We're not actually looking at a Twilight Zone episode, we're looking at the pilot for the Twilight Zone, which was brought to us by Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse in 1958.
Which I had never heard of in my life until now.
We know what Desilu is, so we're halfway there.
That's true.
We know what a playhouse is.
Sure.
But Westinghouse and their wonderful electronics gave us this beautiful episode. Just make sure you buy a new refrigerator once you're done.
Just a very elaborate way to advertise electronics.
So, we start off with a man in a black and white suit, wonderfully groomed, walking up to the camera. But it's not Rod Serling, we've got Desi Arnaz.
Yeah, it's so weird.
So he's the original Rod Serling.
I guess so.
I'll get more into the production of Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse later, because I'm sure everyone is fascinated by that.
Edge of their seats.
But to get to the main event, The Time Element aired November 24th, 1958, written by Rod Serling, directed by Alan Reisner. Now, we start off in a doctor's office. It is 11 o'clock Saturday morning, October 4th, 1958. And you might wonder why I had to go into such specifics, but there is a time element here. The narration for this episode is so strange, because it feels very Rod Serling. It's just coming from a different person.
Yeah, it's like all the pieces of, like, the Twilight Zone are there. It's just like Rod Serling isn't there, so it feels just weird.
Yeah, this is like a bizarro universe Twilight Zone. And we have our 2 main characters here. Arnold Gillespie, the Doctor, and the main man, Peter Jensen. You better remember that name, it'll come back. Now, this is 1958, and psychiatry, mental health isn't treated the same way it is now, so there's a lot of, these quacks and shrinks kind of suck, but this man is at his end, so he has nothing else he can do. He talks about how he's got no mental conditions, he's very mentally sound, but he's stressed, so the doctor does the sensible thing and gives him a cigarette, and they start talking.
Gives him like 20 cigarettes, it seems like.
Yeah, they go through so many cigarettes that they run out of lighter fluid on the lighter.
Yeah. It's just what you did in the 50s, I guess.
Yeah, I can't imagine. That office must have, really stunk.
God. Just the world stank back then, oh my god.
Yeah, it's like growing up with my mom. She didn't like opening windows, so we had that cigarette smell throughout my whole childhood.
Oh god. Yeah, my dad smoked when I was really little, and it was just... I still remember it just being everywhere. It's the worst.
It's just weird just how different the world would have smelled until, a couple decades ago.
Yeah, wild. Because, I was a kid in the 90s, and I still remember there being, smoking sections in restaurants. So it really wasn't that long ago.
Peter is a kind of lovable loser sometimes, except for when he starts fights every second. But he You know, he's had a lot of jobs in his life. He's been a bartender, he's been a bookie, he's dealt with horse races, he's done all, basically like a stereotype of all the things you'd expect for a troubled guy of the era.
Yeah, he's like a very lovable, scruffy, rough around the edges type.
The reason he's in here is because he keeps having a dream. It's happened 5 or 6 times now, and it seems so real to him. Whenever he goes to sleep, he'll wake up in a hotel, and he'll be hungover, which I'm kind of surprised they showed back then. Buy our refrigerator, you can be hungover with it.
Yeah, you can store your alcoholic beverages that will in fact make you hungover. Brand synergy.
This man's from New York, but he always wakes up in the Imperial Hawaiian Hotel. And he has a calendar. One of those weird calendars that doesn't show the year on it. But it is December 6th. Despite the fact I said earlier it's October 4th, 1958. So that's weird. He's probably, he skipped ahead a couple months, probably. And that's what he assumes happens, that he had so much to drink, he just kind of blacked out, a whole couple months.
And ended up off of mainland America.
Yeah, we've all done that before. The first person he meets is a maid who basically confirms what the date is. He doesn't treat her the best, to put it lightly.
No, that whole exchange is very weird. Especially when he does the come here with this finger thing. I was like, oh, this poor woman.
Yeah, when I said he's lovable, just a third of the time he's on screen, he's lovable. And then the rest of the time, I kind of hate him.
Yeah.
He starts off lovable. This is red flag number 1. It'll keep going up.
He's complicated.
And she confirms that they're on Honolulu specifically. Now, if you know a lot about history, you might have some, alarm bells going off in your head about December 6th, Honolulu, Hawaii. And that this was written by Rod Serling. Mm-hmm. Although, before we get there, it is worth noting this was the first time Rod Serling had ever written anything science fiction fantasy-ish. And general audiences, TV-watching audiences, weren't usually aware of this kind of stuff, so they weren't trying to detect every major twist the way we would be now. So they probably assumed, it's just been a couple months.
Yeah, it blows my mind that this is his first time writing, like, a sci-fi type deal, because it's really good.
It's almost like Rod Serling is a really good writer.
Yeah, who could have seen that coming?
This is also a funny episode, and I'm surprised because when Rod Serling tries to write comedy episodes, they're usually not the best. You'll see more of that later, if you've already forgotten some of his standout classics. There are Twilight Zone episodes that people will always talk about, and then there's ones that people go, oh yeah, that one. That was okay. And those are usually the comedy ones. But this has, just very comedic dialogue. Not to say it's a comedy, but there's a lot of funny things happening. The delivery is great. And the main character is able to even use some funny dialogue to get into the bar, because it's basically filled. There's no room at the bar anywhere. Yeah, he finds a way in and starts to drink. The bartender even says, that seat's taken, and he's like, yeah, you know it. Our lovable scamp is going to get drunk. All we've seen him do is wake up with a hangover and drink. So we've got a good idea of what his life is like. Yeah.
What a day in the life of Pete is like.
But conveniently, right behind the bartender, in this Honolulu-based hotel bar, there is a picture of the mayor of New York.
Yeah, what the hell was that about? What a weirdo.
Okay, you've moved, so, you don't have framed pictures of your politicians in your new state?
No, I don't... Yeah, I don't even remember who the mayor was when I moved. I don't know who the mayor is now, here. Which probably isn't great, but hey.
You might have heard of the mayor of New York that they're talking about, though. Because his name is LaGuardia. That's a slightly famous guy. They named an airport after him. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's an airport.
Yeah, good. They named something after him.
Yeah, I guess you have to be kind of a big deal to have a airport named after you.
This is one of those things that every Australian gets tired of hearing about, but it's something that we always have to tell everyone from other countries. So sorry to the Australian listeners, I'm going to do the Harold Holt thing and just say we had a Prime Minister in the 60s who went swimming at the beach and disappeared. Never seen again. We haven't found his body or anything. He's just missing.
Oh.
There are conspiracy theories about it. Like if he, moved and got a new life, if he was abducted by aliens, if he drowned, which is the most likely thing. But they named a building after him too, and it was a public swimming pool.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know why they did
guys.
that, but
did he have a very dark sense of humor?
I don't know. He's one of those people that the only thing people really know about him is he died, and there's a pool named after him. I don't think he was super eventful. I don't think he even did a full term. He had a short span, I believe. But yeah, LaGuardia, interestingly enough, he died in 1947. And Peter says, oh yeah, he was a good man. And the bartender says, yeah, he is a good man. And they have a whole back and forth about, past tense or not, because the bartender is insisting LaGuardia is still alive. The average modern audience should absolutely know what has happened by now, but we're still not sure. The character still doesn't know what's happening. He's just a very confused man. And I believe so. If I traveled back in time, I probably wouldn't assume so just based on, a back and forth dialogue with someone.
Yeah, or using the wrong tense.
Yeah, if I was ever suspicious that I went back in time, I'd go to, a video game store and just see what they have up.
Yeah.
That's, easiest way.
That'd probably be my go-to as well.
Also, every device has, an automatic calendar on it now. So assuming we went back in time, 15 years, it would probably still work. And if there weren't any devices with automatic calendars, I could assume them before that.
Yeah.
We see a newlywed from the Navy. We find out later he's an ensign, which is a naval rank that I only know because of Quantum Leap.
Yeah, I only know it because of Star Trek.
Both shows that had Scott Bakula in it, technically.
Oh, yeah!
He was in one of the Quantum Leaps. He was in one of the Star Treks, one of the ones people don't like, but still.
Yeah, Enterprise. Enterprise is pretty bad.
Yeah, but he was in it.
Well, yeah, but he kind of played an asshole in it. Not his fault.
Now, this man from the Navy is saying that he's on the USS Arizona. Now, if you're watching it like me, every time anyone says anything of interest, you pause it and open up Wikipedia and do a little research.
Yeah, I was just kind of banking on them explaining it as the episode went on.
Because I don't know what the Arizona is. I didn't know when LaGuardia died and turned into an airport. I don't know...
Turned it to an airport.
I know the year of Pearl Harbor, spoilers, but I don't know the exact date. It wasn't a significant thing that we talk about here. It's probably a little more important in America.
You're telling me that the entire world doesn't center American historical events in their daily lives?
No. When we talk about World War II, we start at 1939. We do the whole lot. I'm
shocked.
I didn't even know Pearl Harbor was a thing until I saw a Freakazoid episode as a kid.
Oh my god.
A Freakazoid episode that was parodying Quantum Leap.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Where he stops Pearl Harbor and then he's like, wow, World War II never happened. And my older brother got mad saying, no, that's not what happened. World War II was already a thing. So yeah, that's how I learned about that horrible event.
Yeah, I learned about it in high school, which, a little more conventional in America to learn about it that way.
A little less funny than Freakazoid.
Have you ever seen the horrible Pearl Harbor movie?
No, I just know it exists.
Oh, it's so bad. We watched it in school because I guess it's vaguely educational. Oh, it's so bad. Don't watch it.
You're not going to like what I have planned for next week's episode. We're doing a whole Pearl Harbor thing.
Oh, god damn it.
The funny thing is, Peter, our lovable, drunk, gambling addict, he has really good specific memory. Granted, he lived through this, so I'd imagine it was a little different if you were alive as an adult in 1941. You'd probably retain this better. It was their 9/11. But he knows that the Arizona sunk on December 7th, 1941.
Yeah, he just starts arguing with this poor boy, like, it's in the mud! And he was like, no, it's not. And it's just like, oh my god, stop.
But he pulls up a newspaper, and it confirms it is 1941. He is on December 6th, 1941.
Uh-oh.
And the uh-oh is also because the headline uses a racial slur.
Yep, that wasn't great either.
Yeah, we won't say which one. We'll leave it up to your imagination.
I mean, I know it was 1950... was it 58?
1958, referencing 1941. So, like, in both time periods, it was it would have been acceptable. Well, not acceptable. It would have been allowed for TV. I am pretty sure they use that word in the Twilight Zone later on.
Yeah, I think they do.
There's the George Takei episode where I think a lot of stuff happens.
Yeah. I think that was like, I don't know if it was more of a neutral term back then. I have no idea.
I don't look up the history of slurs.
Either way, you shouldn't say it now.
They were allowed to say it then. We can't now. We cut back to the psychiatrist. So this whole thing's like a framing device, and we have some back and forth dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that up until this time, every dream was identical. So the 5 or 6 times he's done this, he's gone through all this exactly, and then he becomes aware of a situation, and the results differ a little bit, which is what I find interesting. But there's not much he can really do, especially if he has this dream all the time.
Yeah, I mean, at first you're just gonna think, oh, I'm having this weird reoccurring dream. You're not gonna just assume you're time traveling. But the dream is so realistic, like, he's like, it feels real. I think that I'm literally time traveling.
And if the newspaper and everything other people were saying wasn't enough proof, he even says that he knew that it was 1941 because he went outside and there were no fins on any of the cars.
Yeah.
Which I just love. Like, that is such a specific thing.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about cars, but I didn't know that fins just weren't a thing back then.
And fins died pretty quickly. They made it to like 1959 or 1960, and then people were like, no, let's not do this anymore. Which is a shame.
Which is sad. They're cool looking,
yeah, but they look great. Yeah. They're probably not efficient. Probably a waste of resources.
Or safe.
Yeah. They look cool, though.
Yeah, I just love me that good retro style. It's so cool. But it's good that cars crumple now. I think it's a fair trade-off.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because if I'm killed by a car, I want it to look cool. That's the issue.
Go out in a blaze of style. I get it.
Now, Peter is saying he doesn't think this is a dream. He thinks he's actually going back in time every single time he dreams this. He's pretty confident. And we see him trying to use his future knowledge. We go back in time, and our Peter is gambling. But he's placing bets with 2 different phones at the same time on events that aren't even, like, listed yet. No one's even aware of him. He's just saying, like, okay, this will definitely happen on, like, January, whatever. And I'm placing 500 on this. And it'll make him thousands of dollars.
He's trying to live back to the future it.
And just based on just his memory, which, like, that's impressive. Like, I can't recall most things that happened in my life by the specific date.
Mm-mm. I mean, maybe it's different if you're a sports fan. You can remember all of these specific games, but...
I imagine it would be, but I don't know. I'm trying to think about things that I'm passionate about in my life, and I just have a vague understanding of, like, oh yeah, that happened around this month of this year. That's it.
Yeah. Like, I love musical theater, so I could tell you when a play came out, or a show, but...
The exact date?
Don't think I could tell you the exact date, no.
Peter is pretty confident that, oh yeah, if he winds up staying back in time, like, 6 months or so, he'll make a fortune. You know, we don't think he's going to make it that long, because he keeps having this dream over and over, but you gotta bend the rules. You gotta Groundhog Day it. The naval guy checks back in on him, and they say that, you know, they'll meet up later today, and Peter is a bit sad because he knows this widow, this bride will be a widow in just, you know, a day. They were only married the day before. so that she'll be married for 2 days and then a widow, and it's actually really sad. He doesn't think there's much he can do.
Yeah, and they're a really sweet couple, too, because he, comes back to check on him because they were like, yeah, you seem confused at the bar, getting the date wrong and stuff. We wanted to just make sure you were okay. So you're just like, oh, man. They're nice kids.
Peter, at this stage, kind of thinks, I've really got to do something. So he goes to a news outlet to make sure he can spread what's going to happen as soon as possible. They even say, why not go to the police? And it's like, well, you guys will be faster. He goes to a news outlet and explains the Pearl Harbor attack in pretty good detail about the exact time, when it, where it will happen, etc. And the newspaper staff, they kind of humor him for a bit until Peter realizes they're not taking him seriously.
And then we see Peter's kind of other defining characteristic of, I really like to punch a guy.
Yeah. It was the 50s, it's just how you ended conversations.
A nice parting punch to the eye.
After this, a doctor evaluates him to make sure, he's sane and everything, given he basically just came in and said that he can predict the future. So, it's good of a doctor to come in. And Peter does pretty well with the tests until they ask him which president there is. Which president is in office. And he says Eisenhower. They look at him confused, not really knowing who Eisenhower is. One guy does know who Eisenhower is, just based on his, I believe, military position. But he's not a household name. Peter corrects it to be FDR because he's going back in his head trying to be like, okay, who was president?
Yeah, he can remember a random baseball game or whatever that happened 10 years ago, but can't remember that FDR was president in 1941.
Well, he's got his priorities in check. If we had a political commentator go back in time, he would have had this easily.
True, that's a good point.
But even then, I don't know. I don't want to blame him, but I feel like everyone kind of knows FDR was president then. Even I know, and I'm not from that country.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, FDR was kind of a big one.
He was the second most famous Roosevelt just because he wasn't in Night at the Museum.
Yeah, exactly.
They also ask him who the vice president is, and he gets that wrong. But then immediately corrects it to Harry Truman. And then he starts saying Truman becomes president when FDR dies. Obviously gets weird looks from the other people.
No, at this point I was just like, oh my god, Pete, stop. You can't just start saying future stuff. They're literally going to take you to a hospital.
Yeah, and we all know mental health was treated fantastically in this time period in the 40s.
Oh yeah, you'd be treated with the utmost respect and care.
He is aware of how he's being perceived. He's, not that delusional. He's kind of backpedaling away to the door, but he's having a breakdown, and he's like, you guys just don't know anything about the future. You don't know what Sputnik is. You don't know what rock and roll is. You don't know what atomic subs are. You don't even know they're LA Dodgers.
And it's yeah, it's the past.
I do love that his brain is okay, let's go for huge scientific breakthrough, pop culture, sports, the three pillars of society. It's the LA Dodgers, I feel that's not how I would end that list if I was giving it.
No, I probably would have ended with Sputnik, but to each his own.
Yeah, and that's the first one.
Yeah. He went in reverse order of importance.
Now, he runs out of the office. Now, there's a reporter there called Hanafi, and he thinks that Peter is sane. But he also did just draw a picture of planes attacking a ship the whole time.
Yeah, and it looks like a little 5-year-old's drawing.
It kind of gave him an evil-looking close-up with music, but it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Peter goes back to the bar and talks to the naval ensign and his wife and tells him the truth. Tells him he's from the future, you're going to die tomorrow, try to prevent it, etc.
Yeah, and they just get pissed off at him.
And he's making a scene in this bar and everyone is looking at him.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. Like, just, I guess, the futility of what he was trying to do. Just kind of starts breaking down and starts singing, like, a fight song about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, he knows so many songs about Pearl Harbor.
Yeah. It's just this thing.
Everyone's confused. His memory is really good on very specific things. Very specific things. It's fascinating. He, for a guy that drinks as much as he does, I'm really impressed with his recall. But yeah, he talks about Pearl Harbor's, like, this attack's gonna happen. He says a racial slur again. And he gets knocked out, not for that, but for the commotion he's causing. He wakes up from this, back in his hotel room, and it's 8 a.m., and the attacks are happening. He can see it from his window, and he's basically yelling that no one believes him, he couldn't change anything, and he's just depressed. And he wakes up from that, and we now cut back to the therapist's office where he says that's where his dream ends.
Yeah, it was very sad. And then he's like, but I feel like it's supposed to keep going after that.
His therapist says time travel's not real, and then he explains why time travel's not real, based on, to be pedantic, one theory of time travel. There's lots of ways it could happen, actually. This guy has not seen enough science fiction movies.
Obviously not.
But the therapist is absolutely convinced time travel can't be real, because what if I went back in time and I died? I wouldn't be here now, but I am here now. And it's like, okay, that sort of makes sense, but there's a million workarounds to that.
Yeah. That's just, like, one way of thinking about it.
Yep. And Peter doesn't tell him he's wrong because there's a million other stories that haven't been invented yet that will tell him that. Peter says, I knew that ensign, his name was Janoski. It's a very memorable name. And he knew what town he was from because they talked back in 1941. He called Janoski's mother, said that, he was a friend of his from back in Honolulu. And she confirmed that both he and his wife died December 7th, 1941.
Yeah, it was so sad.
So no matter what happened, that man and his wife definitely died, and there's proof of it, and the fact that he's able to recall this is basically proof that he time traveled. But the therapist is like, there's probably an explanation of that. But the therapist does seem a bit, like, he does seem a little convinced. He's definitely processing what has happened.
Yeah, they even, like, switch seats. Like, Peter sits in the therapist seat, and he sits in, like, the client seats, I guess, to show the power in the room has shifted. I just thought that was cute.
I do like that the therapist isn't a complete denier, but he is responding to it in probably the way I would if someone told me they went back in time. I wouldn't immediately believe, but with enough evidence, I could at least be confused.
Yeah, or at least be like, well, I believe that you did that.
We cut to Peter, who fell asleep during therapy. He's on the couch, just sleeping, and they do this little thing where it zooms in on his head, and then there's like a little... In his forehead, there's like a little display showing the entire episode again in fast forward. So we can see it. He is going through the same events again, and nothing is really changing. And then it cuts to back inside the dream. We get it full screen now. And while he's at the window yelling that no one believed him, he wasn't able to change anything, one of the Japanese planes shoots him and he dies.
Yeah, it's just so sad. It's so depressing.
And that's a really good aim for, like, a plane flying at that speed. They were able to get this guy in a hotel window.
Yeah. It just felt like it, I guess.
We immediately cut from that back to the therapist's point of view, and the couch is empty. Peter doesn't exist anymore in this time. He was killed, so now he's not here, which is a weird time travel rule. But still, that's what happened. It's a bit sweaty.
Yeah, but the scene where he, it's just a therapist by himself, I thought it was really well done, because he's just like, he can tell something's off, but he can't really put his finger on it. So he's like walking around his office and looks like all quiet and uncomfortable. And he like checks his patient schedule for the day, and it's like, no patients today. So I thought that was well done.
And his ashtray is empty. The cigarette lighter even works. None of this happened.
Yeah, they didn't smoke their 80 cigarettes.
I kind of like that, like, it doesn't explain what's going through the therapist's head. How aware is he of what had happened?
Yeah, you just kind of get the sense that he feels confused about something.
He's very confused, definitely, but does he think he was talking to a guy that just disappeared, or is he just confused why he's in that room and only has the vaguest recollection, as we'll find out soon? We'll never know.
Yeah.
It's kept ambiguous. But the man in his office alone, who saw that his calendar said that he had no patients today, he just leaves because he has no reason to be there.
Probably confused as to why he was there.
He goes to a nearby bar that looks conveniently similar to the one from earlier, but with redressed a little, as if they didn't have too many sets to work with.
Mysterious.
He's drinking at the bar, and while he's drinking, from the coolest first-person shot in the world, we see his perspective with a glass basically in front of his face, and he sees a picture behind the bar, and it's not LaGuardia this time.
No.
But it does look familiar. The therapist asks, who is that in the picture? And our new bartender says, that is Pete Jensen. He died in Pearl Harbor. And that's where it ends.
And it's like, whoa. Oh, that's a little confusing too. Like, did they think he worked there like 20 years ago? Or
Well, no, he was a bartender previously. That was one of his many jobs. He was a bookie and he was a bartender. So yeah, this is presumably the bar he worked at.
Yeah, and it ends with like you see a clock on the wall and the little thingy is swinging, like
the
clocks
pendulum.
do. I don't know what that's called. Pendulum?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's like tapping his chin in tune with the pendulum. It's a little silly, but I thought it was cute.
I need to look at some of Rod Serling's earlier work, but this might be the first of what we'd consider like a Rod Serling ending in this confusing sense. It's we don't. It's basically up to us to interpret what happened. Although it seems pretty cut and dry. Man went back in time. Man died. Therapist sort of remembers it, but even Desi Arnaz comes out and says that he doesn't think that's what happened. He thinks the therapist saw the picture earlier and just dreamed all of this.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I don't believe it, but we've got to sell fridges here, so that's...
Yeah, we gotta wrap this baby up.
And you gotta make it palatable to the... This wasn't like a science fiction fantasy anthology series. This was a more normal thing, so you gotta make it palatable to your audience.
But yeah, I call it the Twilight Zone bad end. Someone just gets bad ended.
Yeah, and this time no one's glasses broke, so that's good.
Nope.
Sorry, after all this, Desi Arnaz shows off the new Westinghouse refrigerator. It even has a freezer on the top of it. And if you open it up, there are shelves on the door. You can put so much stuff in here, and they show what it's like at filled capacity.
This is what we're all actually here for. Never mind thought-provoking sci-fi. I want to see these shelves, damn it.
So I'm just curious of where we both feel on the time element. I am very torn on this because I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's... I would say this is kind of more in the mid-range of some Twilight Zone. I don't think this is like a standout classic. at the risk of upsetting some diehard fans of this, I think I'm just going to give this a C. But how do you feel, Alisha?
A C, really? Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's good, but, like, I feel like this is a step down below the galaxy being, like, a significant step. But how do you feel?
You okay. Oh no. I mean, I was gonna give it an A.
Ooh!
I really liked it. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm here for. I love the drama.
Yeah, like, I don't know. You really thought the galaxy being was better?
Yeah, how do you not? It had a galaxy being. Did this have a galaxy being in it?
Well, you've got me there, but it's just in terms of, like, a character I could get invested in.
He punches everyone.
Yeah, but he's, like, a fun character. I don't know. Like, he's an...
He said a racial slur.
Well, they didn't know it was one back then. I don't know. Like, he wasn't a great guy, but, like, you also want to root for him because he is trying to do a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, he genuinely wanted to help the couple, the Navy man and his wife.
Like, no, I was just gonna say, you know, for what it's worth, in my defense, I was like, you know, if we had more specifics, I would have maybe gone a C plus, B minus if I allowed myself to do that. But I have to commit hard to
Sure.
the, you know, you gotta draw a line in the sand and you've got to say what it's closest to, and my vibes say it's more C than B.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm glad you loved this one as much as you did.
Yeah, what about it makes you say C? Like,
It just didn't compel me as much. I thought it was like, I like the premise, but I just don't think it was executed the best. I don't know. It also, unfortunately, it also reminds me of another Twilight Zone episode that I like more than this. Perchance to Dream, I believe it's called. But that was written after that, so if anything, this should be higher and that should be lower, but I have my pre-existing biases.
that's fair.
But I think it's fine. Like, I'm not saying this is a bad episode by any means. I just think
Oh, I know.
if we listed every Twilight Zone episode from best to worst, which I never want to do, but if we ever did that,
Oh, God, no.
I feel like this would still be in the, like, this wouldn't be in the top 100 of, I feel, everything.
Sure.
Of, like, the 150 something they did. But I'm glad that you love it. This is much better than the baseball robot episode, but
Compared to, like, the best of the best Twilight Zone episodes, yeah, I mean, it's not up there. But I think, like, if I watched it just in regular rotation in the Twilight Zone during, like, the New Year's Eve marathon, I would have been like, oh, dang, that was a good one.
I don't know. I'm worried I'm going too harsh on it. I just, like, I like it. I just don't like it enough.
No, I'm worried that I really love...
No, I'm happy you went as high as you did. I like that. I'm glad we disagree. But out of the limited things we've watched so far, this is my least favorite. So far.
Because I'm going to be so for real, the galaxy being is probably my least favorite.
I know for a fact that that's going to change pretty soon.
Oh, I believe you. And I didn't hate the galaxy being. Like, I thought it was good. It's just like...
You know, the galaxy being's pretty fun. It's serviceable. It's good. There are better episodes and there are worse episodes. I'm excited. I'm excited for you to see both of those extremes.
Yeah, no, I am too. But just in terms of, like, writing, and I don't know, like, I feel like maybe... I love Twilight Zone so much, and I love Rod Serling's, like, storytelling and writing style. I feel like maybe I'm a little too willing to put on my good time hat for shows like this, but
it just didn't sit with me for best. But that's not to say it was I disliked it in any way. It was a very nice story. If I saw that in 1958, I would say, yeah, Rod, we're going to give you a TV show. I would definitely do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why they watched that and were like, yeah, okay, you need to write more of this. This is very compelling. Let's do it. I know they got a ton of fan mail about it. I was reading up on the background.
And I'll be giving you a lot more background.
Yay!
But first, I just want to remind people that we're on Blue Sky at sci-frightzone.bsy.social, and my individual account is at freezer.bsy.social.
And mine is at birdwoman.geekcritique.org. Because I am married to the Geek Critique, so he let me use his special boy URL thingy.
You're one of 2 people with that.
I know. What? A celebrity.
Until somehow, after you are both financially able to, you have a kid that gets to be a 3rd one with it. Imagine that, like the Geek Critique lineage.
Yeah, if they're lucky.
Yeah.
If they're not embarrassing, they can have it.
Yeah, no, you're like, sorry, you have to have a regular BSY one. You're not good enough for this yet.
Yeah, you gotta work your way up to a kid, I'm sorry.
How many subscribers do you have on YouTube? You've got to hit 1,000 before you're allowed the Geek Critique one.
Yeah, I mean, you understand. It's just business. My child. But no, really, I think it's interesting that we both had a different reaction to the episode.
Yeah, and I know that's going to happen soon, and that's going to happen a lot with a lot of these. I am more generous to the Outer Limits than some people, because I kind of love an underdog show that, like, it's a great show, but, like, it's dismissed by people as, like, a worse Twilight Zone, and I just want to be like, no, you're great, you're your own little separate entity. You've got the best TV ever made.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has a different vibe than the Twilight Zone. I don't think they're going for the same kind of storytelling.
They're definitely not.
That Rod Serling was.
The Twilight Zone likes to end with everyone being miserable. Actually, they both do. Okay, the Twilight Zone likes to end with a plot twist that makes you miserable, and the Outer Limits likes to remind you, without a plot twist, to be miserable. So,
yeah, see, completely different avenues of storytelling. But yeah, I think they're different enough that it's unfair to, like, I mean, yeah, of course, they were obviously influenced by the Twilight Zone, but they're different enough, It's unfair.
The reason we were watching the Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse is because at this stage, Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball didn't want to do sitcoms that much anymore. But these two were like Mr. and Mrs. TV. Everyone loved them. They were like the kings of the industry in America. And they pitched the idea of, let's make the Playhouse, where we can do anthology TV 3 out of every 4 weeks. And then that 4th week will be a regular Desi and Lucille Ball sitcom. So then everyone could be happy. It's a weird structure for a show. It's like we're 1/4 sitcom, 1 and 3/4 whatever we feel like.
Man, I know they were exhausted. Jesus.
There were quite a few anthology TV shows of the time, most of which were owned by companies. Like, there's this one, there's Kraft Television Network. It was just a different time. It's weird to think about.
Yeah, that's just like a particularly complicated way to do advertising. Like, we're gonna fund these weird little TV shows. I can't imagine companies doing that now, I guess.
No, but it worked. We're talking about Westinghouse only because of this.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't really exist anymore.
No, but also anthology TV, unless you're... I don't even think Black Mirror still exists, but unless you're Black Mirror, it's hard to exist in this day and age as anthology.
And I didn't even really like Black Mirror that much, so...
Yeah, it was alright. I saw people hate on the new Twilight Zone from like 5 years ago for being a worse version of Black Mirror, and I just...
That's dumb. Yeah.
By this point, in 1958, Rod Serling was still a famous TV writer. It's weird to think, in his life, he won 6 Emmys. He had already won 3 of them before the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, I saw a picture on his Wikipedia of him, like, sitting in front of a shelf with 3 of his Emmys behind him.
Oh, you can't look at Wikipedia. You'll get spoilers. You'll find out he died.
What? I had no idea.
He, so one of his Emmys, for the record, is for Patterns, which is a really famous thing that he did, if you've ever heard of it.
The name sounds familiar.
It was for Kraft Television Network.
Oh, of course.
He did Requiem for a Heavyweight on Playhouse 90. That's also something very famous. He turned it into a movie later on as well. And he also won an Emmy for The Comedian, once again for Playhouse 90. He just wrote short anthology stories for TV.
Yeah, that was his thing.
So he wrote The Time Element, and it was actually based on an even earlier premise. So the original Time Element was something he wrote much earlier in his life. I don't know when, but I do know that it was in Ohio. So there we go, that's exciting. But he wrote a script for it, and it was a half an hour long script. When he decided to sell it to TV, he had to pad it out to make it an hour long. So I'm wondering what scenes weren't in this originally.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
I don't think anything in this feels like padded or fillerish, but
No.
I'm just curious, because I think it uses its time pretty well.
No, I do too, because everything seems pretty essential. Maybe, like, some parts in the reporter's office, maybe?
Maybe, and he probably wouldn't have yelled at the maid in the initial version.
Probably not, no.
But he wrote the script and sent it to CBS, who he was working for at this time. They didn't like it. They were like, okay, we'll take this, and we'll just shelve it and never touch it.
Yeah, this is weird, but we don't want anyone else to have it, so...
Yeah, but it's also weird because he was a famous writer, and, like, it's just, this was too weird. This was too weird. He had written more dramatic things, like normal, not surreal things. But this...
Yeah.
This has interpretation. It's a kind of out there concept. It doesn't wrap up neatly.
We talk about Pearl Harbor.
They hated it. But they still liked it enough to take it and not let anyone else have it.
Showbiz!
Now, Desilu Playhouse had a new producer called Burt Granite. And he wanted a Rod Serling script because he loved Rod Serling. But it probably would have been expensive to ask Rod Serling to write another script. So he was just looking through the archives and was like, oh, here's one that we have a Rod Serling script and we're not using it. Let's just turn this into a TV episode. So he did. Cannot believe that happened. Like, his luck, thinking, I want a Rod Serling script. Oh well, I'll check the archives, see the best thing I can find that's like Rod Serling.
Yeah, and there just happened to be one. That's nuts.
He produced this. And as you said earlier, audiences loved this episode. It got lots of fan mail. And then CBS was like, okay, we were maybe a little wrong. Let's listen to what Rod has to say, and maybe let's give him his own TV show. Where he can talk about politics in a way without actually saying politics. He can talk about politics if it's about aliens and robots.
Yeah, if we have some good old allegory. And then maybe occasionally he can get overt with it for like a treat.
Yeah, but it'll still be fantastical. Like, the Nazi episode will still have Ghost Hitler.
Yeah.
One of the episodes that touches most on race is actually about a town where there's no daylight.
Yeah. That's a really good episode.
There's no metaphor here. I love that episode. Another reason I wanted to do this podcast is because I heard another podcast not like that episode, and it just...
Really?
Once again, everyone's allowed opinions, but you have to be nice to that episode. That's a top tier one.
Yeah, sure. I mean, opinion is subjective, but that just seems objectively wrong. That's a great episode.
They also didn't like the Nazi episode because, and I love this podcast, but I am shit-talking here. I love it, but it was from, like, before 2016.
I see.
And they were saying, the Nazis will never come back. Fascism will probably come back, but it will have, like, a different face. No one will ever support Nazis because we all know Hitler was bad.
Oh, man.
And I'm just like, no. This podcast episode from 2015 is so close to...
So close.
Yeah. So yeah, I want to prove to everyone that I am always right and everyone else is always wrong, and that's why I have this.
I mean, that's the reason why anyone starts a podcast.
Yeah, and I let you be here, so then people don't get mad at me when I give things C's when they should be higher. Because you'll be there to balance it out.
Yeah, with my very generous good time hat.
Yeah, as long as at least one of the two opinions lines with yours, you'll be happy. We should disagree every time to just please everyone.
Yeah, we should just fix it ahead of time.
There were a lot of actors in this that I recognize from Twilight Zone, but I'm only going to highlight two in particular. One of them is Don Kiefer. He played Hanafi, the reporter that drew the little drawing of Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
He was in an Outer Limits episode you'll be seeing soon called Obit. And he was in 3 episodes of The Twilight Zone, including It's a Good Life, where he becomes a jack-in-a-box, if you remember that episode.
Oh, he was that guy.
He was that guy. He loved his Bing Crosby records, I believe.
Yeah, and then he got sent to the cornfield. Rest in peace.
Yeah, he was also in Another Night Gallery, so he was in all 3.
Oh, another hat trick.
Another hat trick. And I also saw he was in, like, what I knew I recognized him from something I had seen soon, like recently. And he was in an episode of Way Out, which is another anthology from this era that I've been watching.
I've never heard of it.
It is done by the man whose name you hate when I pronounce correctly, Roald Dahl.
That doesn't sound like a name.
He plays a man who really hates his wife in that episode.
Oh, excellent.
He wants to kill his wife because she's annoying. I remember the episode being better than it sounds, but it is a premise that just makes my skin crawl, but...
The old ball and chain, am I right?
But we also have Martin Balsam. He played the therapist in this episode. Interestingly enough, he's not a hat trick, but he was in 2 Twilight Zone episodes that we know, including the one I recognize him most from, the 16mm Shrine, if you remember that.
Oh, what was that one about?
It's the episode about the, like, film star from, like, the 30s, and she's old, and she just hates that life has moved on without her.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
But interestingly enough, this man's career, he was also in one of Rod Serling's Playhouse 90 episodes before this.
Oh, a different kind of hat trick.
And a different kind of hat trick, he was in 2 80s episodes of Twilight Zone.
Oh my god. That's so cool.
I also just want to point out that drunk man at the bar that we didn't even talk about. There was a drunk man who was kind of comic relief.
Oh, I forgot! I loved him.
Do you recognize him at all?
He looked really familiar.
Not from Twilight Zone. His actor is Joe DeRita. And he was the second Curly of the Three Stooges. He played...
Oh!
He was in the Three Stooges from 1958 to 1970.
Oh, that's so cool!
He started being in the Three Stooges, like, at the same time that, like, this episode was being done. They were both 1958.
Oh, that's adorable. No wonder he was good at doing a silly little voice.
Too many Three Stooges overlaps with Twilight Zone. You've got to take it where you can. I would love to see Rod Serling try to write a Three Stooges episode and just how morbid it would be.
Oh my god. Just end up being about the futility of man.
Next time, we'll be returning back to the Outer Limits. And Alisha, what do you think happens in the episode titled The 100 Days of the Dragon?
I'm really worried that it might be something racist. I'm gonna go with cursed Chinese artifact. Fucks up a dude's life. That's my guess.
We'll find out next time how right or wrong you are.
I'm just really worried it's gonna be something racist.
It could be worse.
Oh no, that's a yes. That means that it's definitely something racist.
We now return control of your podcatcher to you. Until next time, when the control voice takes you back to the Sci-Fright Zone.